with all the individual machines in operation now, it's time to start thinking about the big picture here. Well, that's just the Jananin linking book again. Do not want. Anyway, remember how this is the track that dead ends. Obviously an indication this is the finish line. However, if it did turn around and go back into the tower like all the other locations, then it would enter through this door. But as it is, this door will never be used. That's kind of a sad story. Oh yeah, I promised I'd look at these devices more closely next time we were up here. Meh, they're just light bulbs for the hexagons. So, let's put in some codes. Let's see. You know, 2 of these codes have 5 buttons in common. Notice the borders around these hexagons are red. That color hasn't been taken yet, has it? Considering all those machines need to be solved for their own sake, I guess these security codes just ensure everything's in order before we go inside. So don't expect any of the codes to work before their respective puzzles are solved. That's a royal welcome. And now we can finally see what happens to the orbs in here. All that's missing in here is a piece of cheese. Wait a minute. These tracks don't lead anywhere. It's just a jumbled up mess in here. Well, okay, some of them actually go somewhere, but like this one just goes straight into the wall. Now, this one does connect to another track. You can see they're separate tracks because of the division here, and they're on separate wooden platforms. But for the most part, it doesn't work out that way. You can't really see where this track goes next, but there's also this perpendicular track right above it that just stops. And it's not like the catwalk gets in the way either. Then there are these blue fire marbles hovering over these T-crossings. But they're not connected to much else either. Looks like there are 4 of these things. Ah, Amateria's technology. It's about time that showed up. And that's what the cupola looks like from underneath. The royal throne. Good, my feet are killing me. Wait, I thought I'd be facing the other direction. Oh well, whatever.
This morning I woke up, and I couldn't picture Tamara's face. Little line at the corner of her lip that pulls her whole mouth down when she smiles, the flutter in her eyelashes. I tried so hard to picture her in my mind, put her down on paper as if that might bring her back. I couldn't do it. Atrus, I'm not you.
But one thing he does remember about Tamara is that she has big poofy red hair, as evidenced by the painting in Jananin's laboratory. He couldn't get the eyes right there either. But what does this have to do with the task at hand? Absolutely nothing, so let's get back to whatever we were doing. What does this do? Whoa, it's trying to thrust me right into the next puzzle. No thanks. I want to at least look around first. Ooh, a big red button. Well, that didn't last long. And we've been watching so many orbs from the ground, but now that we're up here, everything looks really far away. Let's try to get one of these other things going. Not surprisingly, the orb didn't last very long once it got inside. Let's look at this now. Well, it's not hard to tell what this is. It's a grid of all the discombobulated tracks down below, all neatly packed into one interactive switch yard. Clearly we're supposed to mix it up and straighten it out into one cohesive path, but there's more to it than that. These colors around the edges represent the 4 stations around the island. And remember, each machine raises a bridge at the end, so we can't take any shortcuts. And it's not hard to tell which direction they go either. They start at the cupola symbols and re-enter at the corners of the building. So just now when I pressed the blue button, an orb went through the spider spinner, but then it died right here. That's easily remedied. So that guarantees the orb at least gets up to here. And it also sets up the other track for later use. Or perhaps earlier use. Either way, this platform's done. Now, this one looks like it doesn't make a difference when you spin it. But we saw downstairs that the 2 tracks are on separate levels, so this should screw it up. But I guess we won't worry about it. And the disc above that was the other one I was complaining about, because I saw how this track doesn't go anywhere. But I guess it beats the alternative. Want to at least make use out of the corner. And it's symmetric, so this is the way to go. Which means the entire left side of the grid is now correct. So, are there any other easy gimmies here? Well, there's this one. Same story as the left side. And then there's this one that looks like a baseball. Right now both tracks are useless, so let's make sure only one of them is. And notice that in no orientation does a track ever hit the doorway here. It's not a problem though. Remember, this is the doorway I pointed at earlier and said it wouldn't be used anyway. So 5 of the discs are correctly positioned. I still want to avoid guesswork though, so let's start tracing the paths. First, let's look at the green track, which represents the Wheels of Wonder. When the orb returns from there, it has to go along this path, since these discs are set, at least up until here. So we don't need it doing this. Now that's reasonable. And it's symmetric, so we have no other choice. So that disc has at least 1 bogus track, and possibly 2. And tracing the other paths should get us the middle disc. The incoming path from the spider spinner leads here, and the one from Libra's lever winds up here. Both of these are mandatory, and they both hit the diagonal, so they have to be met by the 2 diagonal points on the disc. But now something weird is going on. Do you see it? Let's trace it starting at the Wheels of Wonder again. This time, there's a completed path all the way over to Libra's lever. Now that would be fine, except when it returns, it's set to go right back to the Wheels of Wonder again. I'm gonna have to see this. It just doesn't get there. So what, is another sword sitting on the track? No, the problem can't be on this track. In fact, these 3 discs have already been set in stone, so it's actually the green to yellow path that's wrong. Which would mean this disc has to be the odd one out. No. No! There. So now there's one left. Now that is one hell of a roller coaster. It first visits the spider spinner, then Libra's lever, then the Wheels of Wonder, and then the finish. Notice that's the same order the bridges rise. And each time the orb travels through the funhouse, it hits exactly one of the T crossings. Or X crossings, if you will. And this one turns out to be the neglected one. Alright, since it all starts at the spider spinner, I'll need to press the blue button to get it going. So now I'll shut up while you buckle up and enjoy the ride. Congratulations! You just survived the craziest ride in the Myst series, and without passing out. Hello? Turns out the symbol was splattered all over the rock forest this whole time. Probably would have thought of it if you had thought about it. And there's no going back. That part is for orbs only. I can't imagine what this is for, though. So, we were riding in that same seat this whole time. You should see your face in some of those pictures. Anyway, it's a pretty ingenious design. Imagine if, instead of gliding, we had to tumble over round and round as the orb rolled along. Alright. I guess I'm out of excuses. There's no reason to keep hanging around this circus anymore.